Imagine you are standing in the departures hall of Varna Airport on a warm July afternoon. Sunlight spills across the tiled floor, boarding calls echo overhead, and the smell of coffee drifts from a nearby kiosk. You glance at the large glass doors that separate check-in from the open street, and in that moment you notice a young German tourist sprinting past baggage carts, eyes wide, limbs pumping, as though he is being chased by something only he can see. His name is Lars Mittank, and within seconds he slips beyond the cameras and disappears forever. You already feel the rush of questions, don't you? Why did he run? What pushed a healthy, easygoing traveller into raw panic? Hold on to that curiosity, because the deeper you look, the stranger this story becomes. Step back a week. You are in the seaside resort town of Golden Sands on Bulgaria's Black Sea coast. It is a budget paradise for 20-somethings looking for sun, cheap beer and dance floors that pulse until dawn. Lars, a 28-year-old football fan from northern Germany, arrives with a group of friends to do exactly what you might do here. Swim, party, laugh, and forget about the office job waiting back home. By all accounts, he blends seamlessly into the holiday rhythm. Casual jokes over breakfast, afternoon games on the sand, and late-night bar crawls down the neon strip. Nothing about him hints at the tragedy to come. 5 nights in, the mood shifts. Lars and his friends settle into a local bar to watch a football match, the kind of place where team allegiances hang from every wall. A disagreement breaks out with rival fans. Just the usual smack talk at first, but alcohol adds gasoline. Punches are thrown. In the chaos, Lars takes a blow to the side of his head. You know that dull, sudden ringing you feel after hitting your ear? That's what he describes later. The fight dissolves. Security ushers everyone into the street, and the friends retreat to their hotel. Lars insists he is fine, yet by dawn his ear throbs, and dizziness creeps in like slow surf. Travel insurance or not, an injury abroad can be unsettling. The hotel receptionist recommends a local clinic, so Lars goes in for an examination. Doctors diagnose a ruptured eardrum, as if a tiny drumhead inside his skull has snapped, and caution him against flying. Cabin pressure could worsen the damage, maybe even cause permanent hearing loss. They hand him a prescription for cefprozil, a common antibiotic, and suggest he rest a few extra days before boarding a plane. It sounds reasonable, right? His friend's vacation is ending though, and your group ticket doesn't allow easy date changes. Lars surprises everyone by telling them to fly home without him. He will book a later flight, he promises, once the swelling calms. If you were his friend, you might feel uneasy leaving someone alone in a foreign country, but the arrangement feels temporary, and Lars is confident. The friends hug goodbye and shuttle to the airport. Lars checks into a cheap hotel called Hotel Color on the outskirts of Varna and texts his mother that everything is under control. This is where the plot turns unsettling. Hotel staff notice him pacing corridors at night. You picture him whispering on the phone, peeking through the curtains, muttering about unknown men outside. In one call to his mother, he says, "I'm scared. They're after me." Who are they? He doesn't explain. Another message tells her to cancel his credit cards. Each line sounds like a puzzle piece from a thriller, but the edges don't match. Yet, the next morning, July 7th, Lars travels to Varna Airport intent on catching that delayed flight home. Security footage captures him arriving, backpack slung over one shoulder, moving slowly but calmly toward the check-in counter. He speaks with the airline before visiting the airport medical office for a final sign-off to fly. You watch him sit in the white-walled clinic while a doctor checks his ear. A construction worker enters the room briefly, just a man in a bright yellow vest. In that instant, Lars bolts upright as if struck by lightning. He whispers something you can't hear, grabs his bag, and charges out of the office. What follows is one of the most analysed 30 seconds of CCTV in internet history. Cameras show Lars sprinting through the terminal, ducking around stunned travellers, dropping his backpack as he pushes through the automatic doors. He doesn't stop when the fresh air hits him. He leaps a tall fence, crosses a patch of scrub beside the tarmac, and vanishes into a line of trees. He is dressed in shorts and a t-shirt, no wallet, no passport, no phone, no medicine, just the clothes on his back. No one has seen him since. So, what could send a rational adult into that level of terror? The first theory points to his head injury. A ruptured eardrum can trigger balance issues, but add possible concussion symptoms, blurred vision, paranoia, mood swings, and you have a recipe for something doctors call post-concussion psychosis. It is rare, yet not impossible. Maybe the antibiotic interacted with alcohol or other substances and amplified side effects. Imagine standing in a fluorescent waiting room, your brain misfiring, and suddenly you believe strangers are plotting against you. You run, not because danger is real, but because your mind paints it vividly. Still, does psychosis explain the phone calls about shadowy pursuers or the plea to cancel credit cards? Could he have stumbled into criminal trouble after the bar fight? Some locals whisper that the men who punched him were hired football hooligans connected to organized crime, that they later tried to finish the job at the hotel. The theory stretches, yet you can't dismiss it outright. Bulgaria is not devoid of petty gangs, and a lone tourist could be an easy target. But if paid thugs wanted Lars, would they allow him to sprint past airport police and disappear? The logic wobbles. Another corner of the internet proposes something darker: organ trafficking. You might roll your eyes, but let's entertain the thought for a moment. Eastern European airports have witnessed smuggling rings before, though far less cinematic than Hollywood suggests. A healthy young man, medical paperwork in hand, could in theory be profiled by criminals who arrange accidents to harvest organs. Yet this scenario demands planning, corruption, and a disposal method, none of which surfaced in the investigation. Without tangible evidence, the organ trade angle feels more like late-night forum fuel than fact. What about voluntary disappearance? Could Lars have staged his own vanishing act? Investigators traced 0 large withdrawals from his bank account, no passport activity, no sightings on bus or train manifests. The German federal police circulated his face across Europe and beyond, and still nothing. You may fantasize about dropping off the grid, but doing so without money or documents is punishingly difficult. Lars spoke no Bulgarian, and the region's forests are unforgiving. Survival experts doubt he lasted long without help. While officials combed the area with dogs and drones, the digital world reacted with equal fervor. YouTube compilations slowed the CCTV footage frame by frame, watching his pupils, measuring his stride, betting on what he mouthed under his breath. Reddit threads ballooned with amateur timelines. Who was the construction worker? Could the antibiotic trigger psychosis in hours or days? Why is there a possible gap in the camera sequence between the clinic doorway and the security corridor? Each user added a thread, and soon the case resembled a vast spiderweb of speculation. Lars's mother, Sandra Mittank, turned to social media as well. She posted heartfelt appeals in German and English, shared childhood photos, and offered a reward. You feel her determination in every post. Please, my son, come home. She travelled to Bulgaria multiple times, walking the route he took, speaking to fishermen along the lake where someone claimed to spot a blond man living rough. Every lead ended in dust. Still, she keeps his room exactly as he left it, refusing to let hope bleed out. New leads trickle in even years later. A truck driver swore he picked up a hitchhiker matching Lars's description near the Bulgarian-Romanian border in 2019. A homeless shelter in Graz. Austria reported a German-speaking drifter with a scar near his ear. Facial recognition experts compared photos, but results were inconclusive. You notice how each whisper reignites the case, yet none grow loud enough to close it. So here you are, back in the Varna terminal in your mind, replaying that escape. You imagine yourself hearing a loudspeaker call, feeling the polished floor under your shoes, and suddenly seeing a stranger sprint by. Would you have followed? Would you have asked if he needed help? Or perhaps you would have done exactly what every witness did. Stand frozen, unsure whether you just saw a man flee danger or flee his own mind. As you board your own flight home, comfortable seat, gentle hum of the engines, you might glance out the small oval window toward the tree line beyond the runway. Somewhere in that Bulgarian summer landscape, a mystery still breathes. The disappearance of Lars Mittank reminds you that travel, freedom, and adventure live side by side with risk, uncertainty, and the fragile chemistry of the human brain. Carry these takeaways with you. First, trust your instincts, but verify your perceptions. The mind can be both a compass and a trickster. Second, when you travel, share clear plans and checkpoints with someone you trust. A simple text can tighten the safety net. Third, when a story like this crosses your path, resist the urge to accept the tidiest explanation. Real life rarely ties itself into a neat bow. Instead, stay curious, ask hard questions, and remember that behind every headline is a family waiting, hoping, and searching. So next time you walk through an airport, notice the footstep rhythm, the push of doors, the swirl of languages overhead. Somewhere amid that orchestrated chaos, a single decision can change everything. You never know which passenger will vanish into legend and which will step calmly onto the jet bridge. All you can do is stay alert, stay compassionate, and keep your story grounded in human truth.